All right, I want you to grab a sheet of paper in front of you, and I want you to write down an objection that you're hearing, you've heard, and you want to PDR it, practice, drill, rehearse, in order to be able to respond, overcome objections, increase your conversion ratio from a conversation to an appointment, and from an appointment to a listing agreement or a buyer agreement. So take just the next 60 seconds while I'm talking to write down your objection. I don't know how many are on this call, but everybody here should, there's 12. Everybody here should have an objection in front of them by now. Now, what I'm going to do is we are going to work together as a group, and we are going to overcome objections. You can raise your digital hand and I'll call on you, or I'll just start calling on everybody in the group, and I'll work my way from left to right, and we'll get through as many of these objections as we can. My goal is to mastermind this. So I want to hear from you. If you have a thought or a response that you would like to add to the conversation, please do, because we all grow together. Deborah, talk to me.
We're going to hire our friend.
Love that.
Like, oh, you don't know them anything, and you certainly don't know me anything.
You want to keep going?
That's where I stop.
Okay. So Deborah, I can appreciate that you want to hire a friend. And in reality, you don't owe them anything. You certainly don't owe anything to me, but you do owe it to yourself to hire the best agent for the job. Wouldn't you agree?
Wouldn't you agree?
All right. Now, the conversation's not over yet. All right. At that point, you certainly don't owe me anything, but you do owe yourself the opportunity to hire the best agent for the job. Wouldn't you agree? Now, Deborah, let me ask you a question. If you hire a friend and they're not doing a great job, how comfortable are you going to be going to them and letting them know that you're not happy with the service they're providing? What if you have to fire them? What's going to happen to your friendship?
Good objections.
Okay.
By then, the door slammed in my face.
What's that? What do you mean?
By then, the person slammed the door in my face.
No. Where are you coming up with that?
That happens.
That's a limiting belief. You're going to tell me if you talk to 1,000 people, 1,000 people are going to slam the door in your face?
Well, it's happened enough. I'm telling you.
It will happen enough. Okay. So if I'm a baseball player and I have a 300 batting average,
you don't quit. You keep going.
It means I failed 7 out of 10 times, right?
Right.
All right. Where do I go if I have a lifetime batting average of 300? Where would I end up as a baseball player?
300.
Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame.
Maybe.
No.
Deborah, I'm going to put you in timeout if you keep it up.
Okay, I'll stop.
Okay, good girl. All right. Next objection. Hit me. Talk to me, Beth.
Interest rates are crazy right now. Why would I want to sell my house? And where am I going to afford this? Why would I want to go from 2.5% to almost 7%?
Yeah.
When I'm going to buy my next home?
Yeah. I mean, the reality is you might be right. The reality is it might be better for you to stay. But just out of curiosity, if you did sell your home, I mean, you're considering it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be talking to me and asking me these questions. And if you were to sell your home, where would you go? What's important to you about moving there? All right. Logic makes us think, emotion makes us act. So I'm going to emotion here. All right. I'm moving to blank. I'm moving there in order to be close to my family. Okay. So what I'm hearing is you do want to move to Tampa and you want to move there to be closer to your family. However, interest rates are stopping you. Am I correct, Beth?
That's what I did.
Okay. And if you were to sell your home and buy another home today at today's interest rates, how much more would you be paying per month for that home? $100 a month? $200 a month? Well, let's just say it's $100 a month. That's $1,200 a year. Now, let me ask you what's more important to you, $1,200 a year or being with your family? Now, here's the next question. If the market value of your home were to go down in the next 2 years, I'm not saying it's going to, but all the writing on the wall says that it might. If the value of your home goes down and you wait for interest rates to come down, most people are saying that's going to happen around 2024. So we're only a year away from that. Maybe it's 2 years, and the value of your home drops. How much does it have to drop before you're losing more money by waiting than you are by selling your home today?
Yeah, you're right.
All right. Now, when interest rates do go down, can you refinance your home?
Absolutely.
All right. So if you bought the home today at 7% interest and the rates go down to 3-4%, what would you do?
Refi.
You refi.
Mhm.
So you guys know the saying, and I think it's been overused in the real estate industry, but you marry the house, you date the rate. Yeah, overused, but okay, it works. You use it if you want to. All right, hit me with another one.
Love it.
You know what, John? I noticed that the homes in this area where I live, they're selling around, say, $3 million. And I'm not as savvy as I think you are as a real estate professional, but I just don't see myself paying a high commission on a $3 million sale. And so I'm not really open to paying 6%.
Totally understand. Nathan, if I were willing to reduce my fee, would you hire me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, why don't we get together? Let me share with you what I can do to sell your home, what I can do to get your home sold in the least amount of time for the most amount of money. And at the end of that meeting, you tell me what you think I'm worth. And if I'm able to work for that, we've got a deal.
I love that objection.
Okay.
That's
So
good. That's
tomorrow at 4, right? Cool.
Cool.
All right. Next.
I got one.
Talk to
So
me.
John, I'm just going to sign my lease again and wait another year. I'm sure prices are going to go down on houses, and then interest rates will also go down. So we're just going to sign our lease and wait it out.
Yeah. And Gina, that might be the right thing to do. Right. My concern is if values don't go down, the home that you would buy today, if you find yourself a year from now not being able to afford that home, and waiting a year causes you to be in a position where you're waiting 4 or 5 years, would you still wait?
That's good.
Yeah. And just out of curiosity, if you did buy, what are you looking for? Where would you go to? What's important to you about?
Yeah, we want to stay nearby, and we see that, houses haven't come down, but maybe a little bit, but we're just going to wait, because I'm sure I even had someone tell me the market's going to crash. I've had a different conversation, but yeah.
Okay, so you're going to wait, and you're betting on the market crashing.
Yes.
All right. How much money are you paying per month in rent?
$1,800.
Okay. And if you bought a home, tell me what that home would look like.
Well, we want it to be, a nice yard for our dog, nothing too big. We've entertained townhouses, but those monthly HOA fees would probably increase our monthly bills. So, we just want something that's, we could fit our family in.
How does that compare to the apartment you're currently renting?
Well, we've got a great clubhouse here. They do parties every Friday. We love that.
Do you have all the things in the apartment you're currently renting that you would in the home you're going to buy?
Well, we'd like a little more space. It would be nice to have an extra family room.
All right. You mentioned space. So that's awesome. And I think you talked about your dogs as well. Do you have a fenced in backyard in the apartment you're living in that you can let the dogs out?
That's what we'd love.
Yeah, you'd like to have a fenced in backyard. So right now you're taking the dogs out for a walk every morning, right? Yeah, 365 days a year, you're getting up at 7 a.m. to take the dogs for a walk.
That's good.
Am I right?
Yes.
All right. Pain. All right, who's next? Going to be a short call.
Hey, John, John,
Yep.
I heard about this little lawsuit that's going on, and maybe where I, as a seller, might only have to pay less than 3% to sell my home. So I think I'm just going to wait, man. I mean, I need a house, but I think I'm going to wait, see what happens with that.
All right, Randy, that makes sense. And if I were willing to work for 3%, would you hire me?
At 1%, I would.
Okay. Why don't we do this? Let's get together. Let me show you what I can do to get your home sold for the most amount of money in the least amount of time. And at the end of our visit, you share with me what you feel I'm worth. And if I'm able to work for that, we've got a deal.
Okay. All right. Well, that's possible.
So tomorrow at 4?
Tomorrow at 4?
Yeah.
Well, usually that's my drinking time and my golf time. So
Drinking
I
and
don't
golf
know.
time.
Can we do it
Okay.
at 5?
I love that. So Randy, when are you not drinking and golfing?
It's a good question.
All right.
Tomorrow at 5 is fine.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I don't want you after you've been drinking. I'm going to get you before you've been drinking.
Sounds good.
All right. Give me another one, guys.
John, I've got one.
Tulio.
Hi. John, I think there's still not enough inventory out there, so I'm going to hold off on selling my home until I feel confident that I have enough to choose from to move to a new home. And at that point, maybe interest rates will be lower. So I think I'm going to just sit for at least 6 to 10 months.
Okay. So guys, I want you to understand the strategy that goes behind what we're doing here. When you practice, drill, rehearse, PDR, when you practice, drill, rehearse responses to objections that you hear, you immediately, when somebody starts talking to you, you inside your head while they're speaking, you go to the inner conversation I'm having with myself as Tulio was speaking to me was, oh, that's sell at the top of the market, the pleasure of selling at the top of the market versus the pain of moving twice conversation. So I knew immediately that's where I'm going to go, because I collect objections. Every time I hear an objection that I haven't heard before, I write it down. And I come up with 3 responses to every objection that I ever hear or heard. And I PDR those responses so that when somebody's speaking to me, all I have to do is first response, second response, or third response. All right. So Tulio, just out of curiosity, how long have you lived in your home?
About 5 years.
Okay. So good news, you've got quite a bit of equity in your home because the value has gone up considerably since you bought it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, just out of curiosity, do you know if the value is going to go up next year and the year after that and the year after that? Or is it possibly going to plateau or even come down?
It could come down a little bit or plateau. I don't think it's going to crash, but it could stop
Okay.
that appreciation. Yes.
Okay. The possibility that the market value could come down, that's a real possibility, right?
Yes.
All right. So here's my question to you. If you knew that your home is worth more today than it will be a year from now, would you want to sell your home at the top of the market or once the value came down?
At the top.
Yeah. And the reason you don't want to sell is because there's not many homes to choose from. So what I'm hearing you say is you're not confident that you would be able to find a home to purchase. Is that correct?
That's right.
All right. Could you sell your home and rent short term while you're waiting for more inventory to hit the market?
Yes, but I vary against renting. I think it's throwing money away, and I may want to take my chances and sit on the home and hope that I get a sale that's similar to what I would get today in 6 to 12 months, and then just move and buy a new home.
I get it. I really do. And it's a pain in the butt to move twice, right?
Yes.
So is the pleasure of selling at the top of the market worth the pain of moving twice?
It could be, yes.
Okay. And I heard you don't want to throw money away on rent, right? So if you rented a property for $2,000 a month, for example, that's $24,000 in a year, correct?
Yes.
How much are your current mortgage payments?
2,200.
Okay. So thanks for not giving me a round number so I could do the math in my head easily.
2,000.
$200 by 12 is $2,400. So you're spending an extra $2,400 in mortgage payments that you wouldn't be spending if you were renting. So you're actually saving $2,400 over a year, aren't you?
Yeah.
Correct?
Yes.
All right. Does that mortgage payment include taxes, insurance, HOA fees?
Yes.
It includes all those. Okay. So you got $2,400 difference here. You're going to save $2,400 by moving twice. And you know that you're going to sell your home at the top of the market because what it's worth today possibly is more than it will be a year from now. Matter of fact, if we went back to 2008 and we said, is this time like that time? If I were talking to you in 2008, we were having the same conversation and you decided to wait. If you remember what happened, you would have waited 8 years until 2016 for your home to be worth exactly what it was in 2008. Now, if you knew this time was like last time, would you still wait?
No.
Okay. So why don't we get together and take a look at what I can do to get your home sold for the most amount of money in the least amount of time? And if it's not the right thing for you to do to put your home on the market, then don't. But if you feel like it's the right thing to do, let's get to work.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. Anybody else? Come on, guys. You got objections. Talk to me. Crickets.
Where were you when I needed you as a realtor?
Yeah, David, that's a really good question. I wish I would have been there, right? And what I'm hearing you say is you're a little bit frustrated that you didn't talk to me sooner, correct?
Yes, I'm very frustrated
Yeah. Why are you frustrated, David?
because we had another realtor and he promised so much and he delivered very little.
Yeah, that happens a lot, right? David, do you believe, based on what we talked about today, that I can get your goals, that I would give you the best chance of achieving your goals? And do you believe that I'd give you the best chance of exceeding your expectations?
Yeah, I'm trying to think if you could, because the other guy said the same thing and he never called us back like we told him to. So, I mean, what would make you different than the other guy?
So I'm curious, David, if you were unhappy with their service, why didn't you cancel the listing agreement?
You know, John, that's a good question that we didn't really know we could.
Well, you probably couldn't. That's probably the reason you didn't, because most real estate agents are going to lock you into a 6-month agreement and you can't cancel for 6 months. That might be the answer.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Okay, so here's how you know I'm going to keep my promises. Because I have a satisfaction guaranteed listing agreement that says you can cancel the agreement at any time with no fee and no stipulation. So even though my listing agreement is for 6 months, it's basically day to day. If I don't keep my promises, fire me.
Okay.
You ready to get started?
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, good objection, by the way. All right, how about how many homes have you sold? How about how many homes have you sold in our neighborhood? How about we're going to hire the neighborhood professional or the neighborhood expert? Let's go through those three. All right. How many homes have you sold? Now, if you're brand new to real estate and you haven't sold a home or you haven't sold very many homes, the answer to that question is none. And that's exactly why you should hire me. Can I explain? You see, if I were going to hire somebody to sell my home and I could hire somebody that's been doing this for years and they're selling 20, 30, 40 homes a year, or I could hire somebody like me who's brand new, super excited for the opportunity to sell my home and is going to give everything they've got in order to sell my home. I mean, they don't win unless my home sells versus somebody who's going to win regardless of whether my home sells or not. I would rather hire the person who's more motivated to get my home sold. I'd rather hire that brand new agent versus the person who has 10 years of experience selling 20, 30 homes a year. And besides, even that agent, somebody had to be the first person to hire them. And you could be that person for me. How about I'm going to hire the neighborhood expert? It's the same response, guys. I'm just going to change it up a little bit. If you hire the neighborhood expert, they probably have 2, 3 listings in your neighborhood and they're selling 10, 20 homes a year and they win regardless of whether your home sells or not. But you see, if you were to hire me, guys, hear me, hire me, your listing would be the only listing that I have in the neighborhood. In other words, I am all in to get your home sold. I only win if your home sells. When I have somebody call and they want to see your home, I'm only going to show them your home. If you hire that neighborhood expert, they have 2, 3 other properties in your neighborhood. They're going to bring that buyer to your home. They're going to show them their home and they're going to say, if you like this, wait till you see the next one. The next one is a home they have that's been on the market a little bit longer and they're more motivated to sell that home. Now, do you want to hire that agent? You're going to hear no. And when you hear no, your response is, are you ready to get started? All right, I've got 9:28, so that's a wrap. Give me some feedback, guys. Was that helpful?
Very helpful.
Good,
Yeah, really good stuff.
good.
That's awesome, John. Maybe we can do like a rapid fire one day on one of these calls on that same thing. I'm just suggesting.
No, tomorrow we're going to turn it around. So I'm going to listen to this recording and I'm going to write down every single one of your objections. And I'm going to come back tomorrow and fire them at you. And I'm not going to ask who wants to take it. I'm just going to call on you. Now, Beth, watch. I'll have 3 people that show up tomorrow.
I have a quick one. I'm speaking to the postal man and he says, well, I have to speak to my wife first. I haven't talked to her about selling my home. So I was like, what's a good objection for that?
The good response to that is, that makes sense. I would do the same thing. And I'm available to meet with you and your wife. Does tomorrow afternoon work or would morning be better for you?
Great.
You know, sometimes the answer is just right there in front of you guys. And you're like, duh.
Yeah.
Right, Tulio?
We overthink way
You
too
don't-
much.
You don't have to make this complicated. You really don't. Success is simple. Our biggest challenge is we want to make it complicated. We want to make the answer fancy.
Yeah.
Said that, Tulio. Yeah, we want to make it fancy, right? And, you know, maybe my gift is I'm just not that smart.
You know, John, I think the other day you said something like,
Everybody agreed with that one, by the way.
you're smart, you're smart.
Yeah.
But they don't know, even when we mess up, they don't even know.
No, they don't have the book. They're not saying I watched John's video and you did it wrong.
Hey, what are you saying about buyer agreement?
Get them.
Yeah, after that.
Did you see her response? That was great. All right, guys, you should have always been getting buyer agency agreements. You should have already been doing this, but you definitely want to start now. Depending on what happens, depending on if NAR settles or if this thing goes the distance and the industry changes, all right, it's a possibility where the seller pays the listing agent, and the only way a buyer agent gets paid is if they have a written agreement stating what they get paid for representing that buyer. Now, you're going to have to get good at having that conversation. Now, the conversation that I'm going to have with my buyers is going to be everything focused on pain or pleasure around having representation versus going directly to the listing agent. If you were in court, would you ever have the other guy's attorney represent you as well? Of course not. You would have representation. So why is it any different in real estate? You want representation. Now, Julie, if your fee is 3% and I'm a buyer's agent working and my fee is 3%, I need to be able to represent that the value that I provide is greater than 3%. Price only matters in the absence of value. If they don't see the value, then they're not going to pay it. But if they're buying a $600,000 home and they're going to pay $18,000 for you to represent them, you need to be able to represent to them to show them that you're going to bring more than $18,000 in value. Was that better, Julie?
Yeah, I don't really have a problem with that. It's the whole line of if you buy anything with anybody, you're still paying me. That's the part I don't like. I
Well,
think that freaks people out.
Okay, so it's a loyalty agreement. Now, the loyalty agreement is I'm going to dedicate time and money in order to find the right property for you. And in order to be able to negotiate on your behalf so that you get the best deal, the best price, and the best conditions. And the only thing I ask back is that you're loyal to me. I'm going to be loyal to you, and I'm just asking for you to be loyal to me. So when it comes time to buy a home, we're going to have an agreement that this is what I'm going to do for you, and in return, you're going to agree to work with me. Julie, I have no problem with that. My advice to anybody that has a problem with that, and guys, I need to jump because I'm late and my 9:30 appointment's already here. So my advice to you would be study the market, study the market, study the market, become the local economist of choice so that you know the local real estate market better than anybody else does. It's important from a buyer agent position as well, that you understand pricing better than anybody else does. You can look at a listing and know we can get this for 95% of the asking price. There's room here. And we're going to start at 90% because we're going to negotiate to 95% versus that seller, that buyer paying 100%. Now, if that buyer paid 100% because they went directly to the listing agent, I just saved them 5%. So my 3% fee, who cares now? You become more valuable. When you become more valuable, and Julie, I'm not saying you're not, when you become more valuable, you won't have a problem with this. When's the last time you went to an attorney and asked them to discount their fee and they said, oh, okay. Doesn't happen. I'm getting surgery. Hey, I want 50% off because I was here last year. Doesn't happen. All right, guys. That's a wrap.
Have a good day, guys.
Daniel, please stay on for me. Do not jump. Everybody else, have a great day.
Good day.